Hey, so today I'm going to tell you guys about a story idea that I came up with. And I don't think I have talked about this before, so I hope that this is not a double video. Um, but I can't seem to find where I ever did talk about this. Um, this is a fun one. This is me sitting up like I'm recording a journal, but I'm doing it from like 40 years in the future. And me and a romantic interest decide to take a tour of the solar system. So it's supposed to be like a 2 week go out to Jupiter, Saturn, things like that, come back, just the two of us, totally romantic. Um, so you have a bed that looks out so you can slowly see Mars approach and then slowly see Jupiter approach and things like that as you're being shot around these astronomical things. And so it's just me starting out with like day one and day two and stuff like that. And it's all electronic. There's no one there maintaining any of the systems or anything like that. It's like you be there at a certain time, the doors close, and things like that. Well, what happened was another couple went in ours. And so we were running late, so we just made it just before the doors closed, and activated it. Like push one button, letting us know that everything's okay. We're all inside and whatever. So it's going to start on its 2 week course. Little did we know that another couple had got there and got in the wrong place and decided to crash on the bed. Well, we didn't even notice it. And so now we're stuck for 2 weeks with this other couple that we don't even know who they are. And it's supposed to be one of those things where, uh, you know how, like on Seinfeld, where you have four people, but each one is totally different? I would like to do something like that, where you got four people and each one is like a totally different personality. And it's just us trying to deal with the fact that we don't know each other. It's supposed to be a romantic trip, and now we have to deal with these other people. What are we going to do about one large bed? So, just different things like that. Um, and just me making commentaries about the different things. And the thing about Mars in my story is that it sort of has a art reflecting life, reflecting art type of thing. And like every movie, Mars is a bad place to go, whether that be like Total Recall or um, Red Planet or Mission to Mars or The Martian or um, you name it. It's a place you don't want to go. And so it's sort of like every single mission that we have sent to Mars has failed. And so after a while, we just, we don't need to go there. There's no reason to go there. No one's going to invest the money in sending something there. And so it has certainly just been skipped over. And so now we have floating cities on Jupiter and Saturn and stuff like that to mine the gases floating in the atmosphere. But Mars just gets skipped over, sort of like almost like a natural preserve. Um, blah blah blah. We call the moon Luna. Oh, I also talk about different things like on the moon. There's something called the atom complex, which is an idea that I had. Like I do remember in the story Lost, where someone had to go and push a button every so often, or something bad would happen. Well, this would be something similar, where like every 10 years you have to restart the computers on this place called the atom complex on Luna. And if you don't, they will assume that humanity's been wiped out. And what this is an automated system that will go through and take sperm cells and eggs and fertilize them and raise them in tubes. And computers would raise them and teach them information and stuff like that. And you'd have, it's pretty much like a restart of humanity. Sort of like the seed bank that we have here on Earth, but this would be for humans in case for whatever stupid reason we got wiped out. And obviously there'd be enough there to uh, grow up and be able to restart the human race. There'd have to be like maybe 200 of them or so. Um, so that's just an idea that I had that I decided to include. So when you pass Luna, you get to see it outside your window. Another idea that I had would be to, um, like, we're so scared if we go to Mars that we're going to contaminate it with our viruses and bacteria and stuff like that. And I'm of the opposite opinion. I'm like, who cares if we do? Maybe we should. And so, what I have in this story is that we send out these. Let's see if I can remember what I called them. Can't remember what I called them, but there were these pods that we have programs all the bacteria in there to thrive on the planet that they go to. Um, so maybe abiogenesis is extremely rare and extremely hard. So we program this bacteria to thrive in the atmosphere of Saturn or the atmosphere of Uranus or the atmosphere of, name whatever planet, moon, whatever, so that it will thrive. And then we send these pods, and once it hits that atmosphere, it explodes and shoots bacteria all over the place. Well, obviously, at that point, we just leave it, and it does what it's going to do, and it's going to evolve. And we do this to a number of different worlds that we would not go to. Like, it's done in Saturn, and we're going to go to Saturn. However, we're not going to be breathing the atmosphere. We're not going to be interacting with it. So it's not going to be like an overlap there. So we shoot past Jupiter, we go to Saturn, and we actually land on Saturn. And in my journal here, I talk about how it's really convenient because normally we would just pass by, but now we actually get to land on Saturn. And I've always liked Saturn. I think it's a beautiful planet. In the story, though, when you're landing on these platforms, it's not as glamorous as you would think because the sky is just like a hazy brown. You can't really see very much, and it's like the same in every direction. So it's like, okay, I'm on Saturn. All right, yeah. And you have these floating platforms, and you have like backup of backup of backup to make sure they don't fall. So you have fans to blow the atmosphere down to lift yourself up, and then you have balloons, and then you have just different things like that, just to make sure that no matter what happens, it stays afloat. Also, another thing I talk about is how we've reached a point where you can change the color of your skin, and so it's not just like black and white, but now you can change it to be green or blue or purple, or you want to lace it with diamonds if you want. Things like that. Let's talk a little bit about the probe that we're in, shooting out in space. Let me just read this here. It says, something I found out today is that there is an unmanned probe in front of us on our journey. Its job is to clear the way of any dust or debris that we run into. It destroys it with a laser, so I thought that was pretty cool. So, when you're going through, and you don't want to accidentally run into, a rock shooting past you really fast. You're able to change the language that you speak. Sort of like you're almost like an android, so you have that implant that you can just switch it. And so I make a note here that says we're going to speak Mandarin on this trip, but her Mandarin memories weren't working correctly, so we turned them off and we decided to speak Hindi instead. So it's one of those things where I think it'll be cool in the future. So I included in my story, just as a passing note, like if I'm going to record a journal. It's sort of funny. This is the fastest I've ever traveled in my whole life, except that there's no local frame of reference, so it feels like I'm not moving at all. So yeah, if you're in space and you're shooting past, and it's going to be absolutely silent, absolutely still, it's going to feel like you're moving at all. Yeah, the different platforms on Saturn are named after different things. Like you have the City of the Rings and Saturn City and Cloud City and Lando City and Calrissian City and stuff like that. So anything to do with uh, floating city in the Cloud City. Um, Oh, I caught it in Eden Pod that had the material designed for a planet. Um, do, 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 do. Da, 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 da. That's about it. Just a fun idea that I had that I decided to record it. It's 3 pages long, and I have it in the same format that I keep my journal, just pretending like this has really happened. Like day 1, day 2, day 3, we go to Mars. Day 4, things like that. So it's a 2 week around the solar system, and we got lucky in that because of the way the planets are currently aligned, that this trip we actually got around to land on Saturn and then also go out to Uranus and then come back. So just something fun that I always thought that I would add on to. It's currently 3 pages and haven't touched it in a long time except for grammar and spelling and stuff like that. So this is probably something I would never actually do anything with in the future, but it's there. It's fun.